Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Better Dental Life podcast. So excited to be with you today because this is the first in a series of podcasts that I've wanted to do for a long time. I think a lot about happiness. Happiness for myself, for my loved ones, for those that I'm coaching, and I'm always trying to find what is that secret formula. Now, think for a minute. Do you ever look in the mirror or do you ever reflect on your life and think, I thought my life would be different by now. I thought I'd be further along, or I thought I'd feel differently. It probably goes without saying that everyone wants to be happier. And for many people, happiness is hard to find. Now, I am in love with my life, but I haven't always felt that way. I've had moments of darkness and moments of despair when I felt lost, long periods of time in my life when I've been trying to chase happiness down the wrong road. So I've studied the idea of happiness extensively for myself and for those that I coach. And there are thousands of books written. There are so many experts. Philosophers have shared their ideas about happiness. Aristotle said, happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life. William James said that happiness is the secret motive for all that we do and all that we're willing to endure. Dalai Lama said, I believe that the very purpose of our life is to seek happiness. So if happiness is the one thing that we humans desire most, why are we so unsuccessful at finding it? Now, I won't pretend that I have all the answers, and if I did, I certainly couldn't distill them into a few podcasts. But I promise you that if you listen to this series of podcasts, you're going to find incredible insight into your own life. Now, before I go into a long discussion about joy and happiness, I want to acknowledge that depression and difficult mental and emotional challenges, they're real, and the answer is not simply try to be happier. My purpose is not to diminish or trivialize any mental health issues. So if you face such challenges, reach out to a trained professional. Now, you can always reach out to me. My email is mark@betterdentallife.com. You can text me. My phone number is 541-331-2297. And I can help out, or I can at least point you in the right direction and get you the right resources. Okay, with that being said, what is happiness? Happiness sometimes is hard to define. And part of the problem is that we confuse happiness or a life of happiness with the emotion of feeling happy. Those are two different things. We can feel happy in the moment. We can feel a sense of joy, or we can live a happy life, a fulfilling life. So it might be helpful first to just see what happiness is not. It is not something that is passive, something that just happens to us. It's not a destination or an accomplishment or the result of some event. Now, we can feel positive emotions that we translate as happy because of these, because of an accomplishment or because we finished a task. I can feel happy at my daughter's wedding or my son's wedding, but that emotion, it's a part of happiness, but it alone is not happiness. Happiness is, however, an active process. It takes intention. We do something to feel happy. We can do happiness. And so even though it's hard to define, I really like the definition given by psychologist and author Trevor Peterson. He gives one of my favorite definitions for happiness, and he defines happiness as having three parts. First is regular joy. Now, this is, like I said, the primary emotion that we think of as happy. And it's an emotion that provides a temporary rewarding signal to us when one of our personal values was just honored or one of our primary human needs were just met. We feel this joy when we take action that fulfills our physical and psychological needs. And it reminds us to honor our values and to meet our needs. So this is kind of the positive reinforcement. A positive signal to our brain says, do more of that. That was good. That's a part of happiness. That's the first piece of happiness, is finding those moments throughout our lives, throughout our day. Second part of happiness is significant meaning, which is to have a substantive reason for living. This includes being part of something larger than ourselves. This is our spirituality. It's a connection to God or to nature or to the universe. And then the third part of happiness is a life satisfaction. When we evaluate our lives, do we see it as having high quality and being fulfilling? This is a self-assessment, something we reflect on ourselves and we decide for ourselves. So, happiness is having regular joy, significant meaning, and a high, stable life satisfaction. Those three parts. In other words, happiness is the ability for us to find spiritual meaning in our life, the ability for us to discover moments throughout the day to experience joy, and then to feel satisfied with what we have and who we are. It does not mean an absence of trials. It doesn't mean we don't have hardship. It doesn't mean we don't experience pain. So I want you to think of happiness as a lifestyle that we can choose no matter what our circumstances are. We have complete control over our happiness. Happiness is an attitude. Happiness is a choice. Now, at the beginning of the episode, I wanted you to reflect on the expectations that you have had for your life. And I asked, do you ever look into the mirror and think, I thought my life would be different by now? We start from an early age to create a roadmap or a blueprint for our life. And it's modified over time, but we all have a model for what we think our life should look like, a model for our world. And when we meet that model, we feel like we're going to be happy. When our model of the world, our template for our world doesn't match reality, we feel a sense of pain, a painful emotion. And if we feel like we don't have control over our world, we not only feel this pain, but we suffer, we ruminate over this pain. So if I were to ask you what you want more of, what would you think was going to make you happy? What is the thing you're seeking? What's the model of your world that you want to have to make it complete? If you're like most people, you would say, hey, I want better finances. I want more money. And I want to be financially secure. Whatever it is around our finances, we want that to improve. Number one, finances. Number two is going to be, I want better relationships. Whether you're trying to find someone to love, whether you want to improve the relationship you're in, something around relationships is going to be a part of that. And finally, health. I want to be stronger. I want to be more active. I want to lose weight. I want to look better. So the three things most people are going to want more of is to improve their finances, improve their relationships, improve their health. And we think that when we achieve these things, then we're going to be happy. But the secret to true happiness is to find joy and happiness in the journey of pursuing these goals. The goals of better finances and better relationships and better health. These aren't bad goals. These aren't bad things to seek after. But the secret is to find a balance between being satisfied with where we're at right now and then trying to be better, trying to improve, trying to grow. And so we can seek after those things. We just don't wait until we achieve them to feel happy. We can decide to feel happy now while we're chasing after those things. Now, those of you that listen to me a lot have heard that I love to climb. I like mountaineering. And though I haven't done it a lot recently, for years I climbed a mountain that was close to us, Mount Shasta, at least once or twice a year. And this is a mountain that on some of the routes really require some crampons and ice axe and occasionally requires to rope up if we're going to be working on a glacier or around crevasses. So depending on the route on Shasta, it can be pretty intense. Now, the first time that I climbed Shasta, or one of the first times I climbed Shasta, I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know what I was getting into. A friend said, hey, you ought to come join us climbing this mountain. This is before I fell in love with it. And I wasn't physically ready for what that would entail. And so climbing, if you imagine climbing this mountain, you're getting to an elevation of just over 14,000 feet. So starting to get a little thin on oxygen up there. And you're just constantly stepping. In fact, a cadence of step, breathe is kind of what you think of as you get into the higher elevations. And so for this climb, it'd be about like, getting on a step machine for, hours on end, 8 to 10 hours, and then slowly taking oxygen out of the room. That's kind of what it feels like to climb. And if that sounds miserable, that's what I was experiencing in those first couple of times I climbed the mountain. So I think this was about my second climb on the mountain. I was feeling that, and I was looking for the destination, the top, the summit, where I thought I'm going to feel amazing once I reach that summit. And so as I'm climbing, doing this step, breathe, I'm not feeling great. I'm feeling tired, and it's just monotonous. It's dark because we leave early in the morning. And as the sun started to come up and it started to get light, we just happened to take a little break to get something to eat. You want to fuel up early and you want to fuel often as you're doing an endurance event. And I turned around, because normally you're facing the mountain, crampon ice axe, facing the snow. I turned around and saw just this breathtaking sunrise. And it was incredible. And there were kind of misty looking clouds over some of the other peaks in the mountains around us that looked like they were below us, but you could still see through. So it wasn't totally filled in. The sun was just glowing, and I just felt incredible. I was like, wow, that is amazing. The view is incredible. I just breathed in and enjoyed it all and felt so good. And so often, I think, in life, we're too busy facing the mountain, stepping, waiting for a destination to feel the happiness, and we just forget to look up. Like, stop, turn around, and enjoy the sunrise. And the truth is that all the time we can stop and enjoy the view, enjoy the sunrise. We can look up and see how breathtaking this is, and just breathe in just the joy of life and how incredible it is to just be. So, there are times where we're going to have to step, and there are times where it's going to feel miserable, where we're going to feel tired, where our legs are going to ache, and we're going to feel hungry. But we can stop periodically and enjoy that journey. So there's always going to be a destination. My destination, this example, was reaching the top of Shasta, top of the mountain. And the reality is, though I thought that was my destination, as soon as I reached it, I quickly had a new destination. I'm exhausted. This was fun. We loved the summit. But now I've got a long hike back down, and I'm already tired. And so then my new destination is getting to the car. So the reality in life is that once we reach a destination, we quickly find something else that's going to make us happier. And that next thing I wanted was getting back home and in my bed to sleep, getting a hamburger on the way home or something to eat. And so we think we have a destination, but once we get there, we're always going to have something else. There's always going to be the next destination. So where are you? What destinations do you see right now? What things do you kind of tell yourself, the stories you tell yourself, that once this happens, then I'll be happier? And in our practices, this may mean, I'm short-staffed right now, but once we have a full team of that, we're a better team and they're all clicking and everything's working together, then that's going to be amazing. Then I'll feel happy. Or once I'm free from the PPOs that I'm a partner with, then I'll feel happy. Once I build my new office and I get out of this cramped little space, I did that for a little while. Once the new office happens, then that'll be amazing. Then I'll be happy. That was a destination for me. A lot of you may think that your destination is retirement. I'm tired. I'm burned out with dentistry. I'm kind of sick of this part of my life. And once I retire, once I can hang up the handpiece, that's when I'll be happy. And the truth is that we can find joy in the journey. We can still look to those destinations. We can look to getting a full team. We certainly want that. We can look to having a better trained team or the new office or retirement. But when we find joy in the journey, we are so much more likely to achieve the results that we want. We're going to get to retirement sooner or be able to retire sooner, and then may decide we don't need to completely retire because I now like what I'm doing. And so we're going to get better results. We're going to find that destination sooner when we find happiness in the journey. Now, life is not an endless sequence of emotional highs, just one achievement after another. And that's not what happiness is built on. And even while climbing, while on our journey, we're going to feel some pain. And like all of you, I continue to feel my fair share of disappointment, of sorrow, of sadness, and remorse. So on our journey, as we seek out a new destination, as we reach for a new goal, we need to be really comfortable with negative emotions, with disappointment, with discouragement, with fear and frustration. Each of these emotions, they're telling us something. And we need to learn to listen to that emotion. Now, listening to that emotion doesn't mean ruminating over it and having it stop any ability for us to take action, right? That's when a negative emotion becomes unhealthy, is when that negative emotion stops us from forward progress. When we have so much fear, we can't step forward. We have so much discouragement, we just give up. That's not the purpose of those negative emotions. They're to tell us something. We should feel fear because, hey, look out. Maybe this might not go so well, so be cautious and proceed with caution. Doesn't mean don't proceed. Doesn't mean don't move. Lean into that fear and say, okay, I'm going to be cautious. I'm looking around and I'm going to move forward. We should feel discouraged when something doesn't go well. It's just telling us, hey, this didn't go well. And maybe we shouldn't be doing the same thing over and over. Maybe I should try to look at this a different way and have a discovery. I might, have a light bulb that turns on and tells me of a new way to go forward. So each of these negative emotions, we can learn to listen to them and harness their power as a motivation. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And we can learn to feel the pain and not suffer over it, not ruminate over it. That's what suffering is when we just sit in the pain. Too many people, they ruminate over the negative emotions and they get stuck. Now, on the flip side, when we're happy, it's more than just feeling good. Studies have shown that happy people, they're more productive, more creative, they're more confident. They're able to lead more effectively. They're more physically energized. Happy people are more financially secure. They're able to maintain lasting, close relationships. They're more physically healthy and mentally healthy, more resilient. It is a myth to believe that happiness comes after we achieve these things. Happiness doesn't come after I'm physically healthy or after, I'm financially secure. We will feel the emotion of happy when we achieve something. We'll feel an instant joy, but not achieve happiness if we achieve one of these things. If we want any of these things, in fact, then our goal should be, let's do happiness first. Let's be happy first, and then these things will come if we want them. All right, so that's just a little bit about what happiness is. And I want to spend most of this time kind of creating that vision, creating what can happiness be for us? What does that look like? And then in the next few episodes, we're going to talk a lot more about the secrets to finding that. How do we harness that power to find the joy in our lives, to have that spiritual connection to something greater, and evaluate our lives and see it as satisfying and fulfilling?